Okay, this is Allie, and I'm here with Mike Gebhardt, also known as Gebi. We're going to do a little interview for God's House. What's your name?
Oh, I thought you. My name is Michael Gebhardt.
Where are you from, and what's your religion?
I'm originally a Florida boy. I live in Canada with my wife, and when I work, I travel, so I spend a lot of time on the road. My religion, I'm actually a devotee of a gentleman named Sathya Sai Baba, and he's an avatar or God-man who recently left his body a couple years ago. He's from India, and he was a perfect master, is a perfect master. And by that I mean he was sort of God conscious or self-realized, so had a lot of unusual attributes, but he sort of built, by default, all the masters end up having what humans would call a religion built around him, although his religion is called the religion of love. He was a universal teacher, and somebody that didn't run with the same filters that you and I are sort of dominated by, being personality, ego, individual desires. He sort of had universal mind, consciousness, but incredibly prolific teacher. And I actually stumbled across him through a friend who had told me about him, and I one evening started reading a little book about him, and then he actually materialized in a locked room Christmas Eve 1995, and I just had sort of a very unusual experience with him, and I've been a devotee of his or follower of him since, and that was quite a while ago. But I've been to India twice. I did see him in the physical form, besides having numerous visitations. He would come in dreams and do other things to sort of let you know he was sort of keeping an eye on you. So that was I feel very blessed to have had those experiences. But what's more amazing is you go all around the world and you find different devotees that have had these experiences, and they tell you similar stories. So it's sort of like it's like a sci-fi story, But there are these beautiful beings running around that just have all these amazing gifts of awareness and sort of insights, And the cool thing about the masters is they love you more than you love yourself, and that's something that sounds like an interesting concept, but when you actually get in their presence, it's quite amazing to watch the impact and the influence that they have. Because when I would go see Baba in his ashram, there, at any given time, there's 100,000 people there to see him. So it's a big, huge sort of show that you have to go through the whole system to even get close to him, inside the ashram, because there's so many people trying to get close to him. So it's a very organized environment just to kind of keep people civilized. Because they're all clamoring to sort of, want to touch his feet or ask him questions or whatever. And, he built this whole system of, way of interacting with just huge amounts of people. And, yeah, I mean, there's probably, I don't know, 5,000 to 10,000 books written about the guy. I mean, a completely ridiculous number of books when he was still alive. I'd go into the ashram, which is literally a whole city built around this gentleman, and he's 5'2", 108 pounds. He's just this tiny little guy with a sort of a big fro look. He sort of fluffed his hair out. That was sort of his style, and he would wear an orange robe, and he would give discourses and talks. And if you were very lucky, you would get into a private interview, usually with a small group, 10, 15, 20 people. But what an amazing teacher, and the religion is. His teachings are sort of universal. So, and can you imagine going to an ashram and every day is a celebration of a different, whatever religious holiday or whatever special day that is in different cultures, religions would be celebrated there. So it's non-stop, like education of how the Jewish culture practiced religion, and how the Muslims, the Baha'is, the Jains, the Sufis, the Buddhists, the Zoroasters, all these different religions you never even heard of. And, people would come in the thousands to celebrate their, very particular day of the birth of their master, or, Shivaratri or whatever it would be. And so it was just like this massive, chronic celebration of God in all the forms, which is quite amazing. So I believe that Jesus was another one of those universal teachers, as Swami sort of expounds on all these different masters' lives and explaining their consciousness, but from that place where he sort of has their awareness, where we're sort of reading about it, trying to understand it, and they're literally living it, manifesting it right in front of you, which is pretty awesome. But the great thing about it is that it really sort of opens your your consciousness to sort of interacting with people from all cultures and all religions, and you really start find the underlying unifying principle, which is the 5 pillars of all religion: truth, love, nonviolence, right conduct, and peace. So that's found in every religion. So the word religion to me means realization. And realization of what? Well, realization of the self. And what is the self? Not the misidentified individual ego and the accomplishments or the infatuation we have with the body, obviously, which we don't take with us when we come in and out of this plane of existence. So the masters really give you a science to sort of understand the nature of your consciousness, and they sort of re-educate you and flip everything upside down. What's unreal becomes real, and what's real becomes less solid.